Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I wanted to do a quick unboxing and the setup and just go through the general specifications of this TP-Link range extender. So this is for Wi-Fi, so it will extend your Wi-Fi range if you've got a weak signal, say on another floor of the house or out towards the back of the house or anything like that. So this can help to extend the range. There are things you have to be wary about on Wi-Fi extenders like this. It will slow the connection down. So of course, even though it says it's dual band here, so you will still get a better connection. But you need to make sure where you place this actual extender, like with any extender for Wi-Fi, is that the actual extender has got a good reception as well. That's why normally you'll find them having external antennas or anything like that, or stronger, so it can boost the signal more than a natural device that would normally have. So as you can see here, this has got both dual and external antennas, so it's quite good. So it's good for range. So this particular model is the AC750 Wi-Fi range extender, and the model is the RE205. This is the UK version, but it'll be exactly the same elsewhere globally. It's just your plug will be a different format. So as you can see here, it is compatible with any Wi-Fi router. So you can connect this to it. So basically it's just going to repeat the Wi-Fi signal, and so that includes your Wi-Fi name or the SSID and the password you've got. So if you see here, it's, as we said, it's dual band, so it's 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequency, and you can see here the actual speed is 300 and 433 megabytes per second. So of course the theoretical speeds, and perhaps you never really get that kind of speed, but at least it will extend it and hopefully get a stronger signal for where you are. So you have an app you can download and set it up, and also I do believe it has an interface you can access using Google Chrome, Safari or Firefox or anything like that. As you can see here is basically an access point. It's got some more details here. So it's going on about, it's got an easy setup, intelligent signal indicator. So that's always good to see, is that it will tell you once you've plugged this in somewhere and you want to extend the Wi-Fi signal, as long as this item and the extender is actually getting a good signal, so you can use it by the lights. It's multi-language, and we said it's dual band, so it's good. So it's 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It has access control and high speed mode as well. So as you can see here, here's an example of actually how they've set it up. So you've got your Ethernet cable from the internet to your main router. So in our example, sometimes it will be the Asus GT AX11000 or whatever router you have. And then you can see here, if you've got further out from in your house, you've got basically a slower signal or a weaker signal, you can put this in between so it overlaps, as you see the two circles here, and that can relay the signal then and make it stronger. So you can see there they've got apps for Google Play and the App Store, and you just scan the QR code as usual. So as you can see here, before we unbox it, it does have an Ethernet port as well. I believe it's not a gigabit in speed. I think it's only 10 and 100, but I need to verify that later, and I'll put it in the description. So you can see here it does have a high speed mode, so it uses one dedicated Wi-Fi band to boost the extend performance of the for online activities. So basically you can use your 5 gigahertz frequency to actually connect back to your router, but the only problem is you won't be able to access the 5 gigahertz frequency on here, because that would be like the backbone channel for this. So you can do it the other way around and use the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. So you can swap them over to see which one is giving you the best performance. It's got external antennas, so as we see here, so it's good, easy setup, and as we said before, it's got the signal indicators. So it's got blue for strong indication and 2 far away from your router, and it'll go red there. And you can see here it's got an Ethernet port for PCs, game consoles and smart TVs you can plug underneath it as well. So that's really good to see. Okay, so if we just have a quick look and as you see here, it does come with a 3-year warranty. There are newer models out now. So this one is quite an older model, but I only needed this just for the out in the garage, so I didn't need it anything too fancy. I just needed some 2.4 gigahertz frequency. So as you can see here, you have an installation guide that you get, and it gives you the LEDs that you can see, so your main LEDs for power on and everything else. So it gives you a rundown of that. You have your domestic and your general license information they normally give you. So most of the time, as you can see here, it's quite a small device. It's not huge, so it's always good to see it's compact, and especially if you're putting it on a double plug like I am, at least it won't take up too many of the other ones, so it won't block the other plug. As you can see, the aerials here actually fold out, so that's always good to see on here. So as we can see here, if we fold these back down here, so you do have a WPS button. So as we know that you can push the button on your router, and then you push the button here and it'll automatically connect. I normally would advise, like in my other videos, when we go through the router setups and things, for security reasons, I normally switch this WPS function off. I know it does make things easier, and it's up to you. That's my personal preference, but there is a security flaw in WPS. I know some routers have updated firmware do counteract this with limits on how many times you can try the PIN number for brute forcing and things like that. But for generally, I would just say that if you can manually, if you've got the knowledge to manually set this up and connect to your other main router, then do that instead of setting up WPS. But if you don't know and it's easy, then just do it. So as you can see here, you've got your 4 lights on the top here. So the first one, we've got power, then we've got the signal, and we've got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So these ones will light up when you've both got the different frequencies active. Your power light is on, and as we saw in the box before, it tells you on the side here. So as it says on here, this signal one will go red if you're too far away from the main router. So that means it's not actually going to give you a good strong signal, and it will go blue if you've got a strong signal. So it's always good to see that they've actually got an indicator there, and you don't have to test it out manual. So it's good. So as I said, this is the UK version of the plug. So I've got a 3-pin socket, and you can see here the power is between 100 and 240 volts, and it does give you the default access where you can access it. So like a web address, that's TP-Link Repeater.net, and then it just gives you your serial numbers and your MAC address, and then the model. As we said, this one particularly is the RE205. So in the bottom here, you can actually see as well, we have some ventilation here, of course. Here's the Ethernet port. So as you can see, you can just plug in your, as it said, your smart TV, your console, or your PC. So that's always good to have. And also you've got the reset button. So that's, you can manufacture, if you're going to sell this, or you would want to, if you've got any issues or anything, then you could manually reset it using here. And it's one of those small ones, so you're going to have to get like a little SIM eject tool or a paper clip or anything like that into there, and then hold the button down. So as I said, it is a neat, really good compact item here. And I think why I chose it was because it's small, and I know there is some faster probably ones out there, but I got this secondhand off eBay myself, and as I said, I didn't really want to go and spend too much money. So now we've done the unboxing, we'll go through the setup process, and we'll be using the web interface. You can download the app, but as I said, I do prefer using the web interface, and you can use the web interface on anything that's got a web browser, so your mobile phone, your tablet, or your PC. Okay, so we'll just go on to that now. So now we'll move on to the setup of the Wi-Fi extender from TP-Link. Again, the model is the RE205. So as I said, as soon as you set it up and switch it on, it'll start broadcasting to because it's dual band. It means it's 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So as you can see on the left hand corner of the screen, you'll be able to see where I've got there on my little image. So I've got a Mac OS, so I switch on the Wi-Fi, and then it's the same as your mobile phone or anything like that. It will list all your Wi-Fi networks. Then you should be able to see the TP-Link extender 5 gigahertz and then the TP-Link extender 2.4 gigahertz. If you have bought this second hand like I did, the previous owner might not have actually bothered to reset it, so it might still be broadcasting the old Wi-Fi name. And like we saw before in the unboxing, all you have to do is get like a paper clip or a SIM eject tool, and once it's switched on, give it about a minute and until the blue light stops flashing, and then what you have to do is you'll push just for 10 seconds underneath into the reset button using the paper clip, and then you'll see all the lights, all 4 lights light up on the top of the actual Wi-Fi extender. You can let go and then it'll reset back to normal, and then you should be able to then see both the TP-Link extender 5 and 2.4 gigahertz frequencies and channels there. So once we've got those actually there, you then connect to either one of them. You don't need a password or anything like that. So once you've connected, the actual default you need to type into your browser, like I've got here, is the IP address of the actual extender, and that is 192.168.0.254. And then once you've basically connected, it'll then present you to this screen here, where it's quite good security. The first thing it's trying to get you to do is to create a new password to actual access and set this up. So that's really good. And as you can see here as well, it has a low, medium and high, and it also tells you how strong your password is. As I said before as well, you do have at the bottom of the screen here, you do have the app you can download and install, so you can use the App Store and the Google Play, and it'll be the same layout as before using the app. It's just I prefer using the browser. It's much easier for me. So as we said, we set up the password for to actually access it. So we can do, so you can see, and then if you do need to see the password you're using, you can click here on the little eyes and it will hide it and then display it. So if you do want to double check to make sure, as you can see, please don't use password as a password. It's not secure, even though it's telling you it's medium strength. So yeah, so if we just then click start, you'll then start seeing it start up, and then it'll progress to the setup screen. So then you can set your time zone. Of course, I'm in the UK, so I'm going to put that down as London, GMT. So you click next. You see it's got quite a nice little wizard as well here, to actually step you through all the process. So we'll probably go into the settings later, but you have mode, log out, and then you can reboot it as well at the top. So as you can see here, it's now listed all of the actual Wi-Fi networks, and it gives you their signal strength as well. So as you can see here, on these particular ones here, these are too far away, so you will not get a good signal. And also it does tell you the security, if they're open or they're closed Wi-Fi. So you want to be looking for ones that have got at least in the green here with bars wise for connecting, so because you want to make sure that you've got a good signal strength on here. So now it's asking you to actually connect to your 2.4 gigahertz host network. So if you have a single band router from your ISP or anything like that, then you'll just see the 2.4. Normally they're just that's quite an older router you've got there. So then all you want to do is just highlight the router you want to do, enter your password, and then it will connect to your network, and then you'll be connected to the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. So as I'm just doing this for demonstrations, I'll just quickly skip this one, and now it'll go on to, as it says here, the 5 gigahertz host network. So now again it will list all your Wi-Fi networks. Again, this time will be 5 gigahertz frequencies, and again you want to be looking out for the signal strength here, because if it's too weak, then it won't be extending your Wi-Fi as good as possible. So you want to be making sure that you've got there a good signal strength. And again, around the security here, it's showing you if it's an open Wi-Fi network or a locked. It means it's password protected. So then again, you just click on the actual network, and then you enter your password for the host and you click next, and then it will connect to your network. So then it will be connected to both the 2.4 and the 5, and it will start replicating the name and the password of the network. So as you can see here, it won't allow you to go any further, so I can't skip there, but once you've done that, it'll set it up as the wireless settings on this one. So if we move on to the actual settings, and this is when you're connected to your Wi-Fi. So as you can see here, because I haven't connected it properly yet, it's actually showing it's not connected to the internet, so that's the reason. But as you can see here, you've got your networks and network names. So these will change once you've actually set it up properly and connected to your networks like we did previously in the other screen. And you can see here it allocates its IP address as well, and if it's dynamic, and you'll probably want to leave all this the same. You don't want to change anything. It does have several languages, so you can change to your language if you want to. And then next one after status, you've got the wireless. So you can see connect to a network. So if you ever change your router and you want to change this as well, then you can come in here, do the wireless scanner again, and then change it to your network. Or you can manually set it up here if you know the network security. So if you know your network name for your Wi-Fi and the security, and you can enter its password and connect. It's the same for the 2.4 and the 5. And again, you can actually disable them if you want. So if you don't want the 2.4 or you don't want the 5, and then save. So again, on here is about extending it, so you can see the actual name. So normally it will replicate the same name as your main router, so your devices can automatically transfer between them. But for some reason you want the extender for TP-Link to be a different name, then you can do that here as well. And of course you can hide it. So that's always good. As it says here, you can copy host SSID, so you can just click that and it'll replicate your main router. But if you want this to be different and you want to know if you're connected to the extender for any reason, then you can have that as a different one as well. So that's good to see in the settings. So next we have network. So again, you probably want to leave this all alone unless you're doing anything specific. You want it to obtain the IP address automatically from the main router you're connecting to, and for the DHCP as well, where it gives out IP addresses, you want to leave that on auto, so then it won't do anything there as well. So and then at the bottom, then you'll be able to see as well, you've got a list of connected clients, and it'll give you their IP addresses, how long they've been connected for, and if possible their client name, and then also the Ethernet port. So this is quite good as well as an option. So the host network for the Ethernet port, so you always probably best to, if you do have the option of 5 gigahertz, is to leave it at 5 gigahertz because that'll give the fastest. But as we did say, that the Ethernet port is only 100 megabits per second. It's not a gigabit Ethernet port, so just be wary of that. Okay, so and then you go on to advanced settings. So then here we've got power scheduling. So as it says here, before enabling power schedule, please make sure the system time is correct. So of course you're setting that up correctly. And then you can add here a time for when you want it to time off, and then if you want to repeat it over the week, so you can have it from certain times where it will actually power off. So that's really good to see as well if you don't want the Wi-Fi extending. Then you have Wi-Fi coverage. So here is you set the Wi-Fi coverage of your extender as needed. So you can see here the maximum, it defaults to maximum coverage. So the extender will provide a long range Wi-Fi signal but use up more power. Of course, I think most people, the whole point of it is to extend the Wi-Fi range as maximum as possible, so you'll probably leave it there. But if you do have multiple ones, extenders everywhere, and they overlap a lot, then you can always adjust them down to intermediate or minimum, wherever your requirements are. Again, now you have the option as well is access control. So you can actually block and then let in certain devices if you want to, and you can just choose them here from the lists or add them, and then you can have that block so that a device doesn't actually connect to the extender. Is one thing this is good for is that then if you don't want a certain device and you know one of your devices works much better on the main router, you can put it on the block list here, so it doesn't use the slow extender. It will always use the faster main router connection. So that's a good option to have here, and then you just put that under the blacklist here. And then you've got high speed. So again, this is defaulted as off, but as you can see here, this is the high speed mode that was listed on the box, and you can click enable here. So it says that high speed cannot be enabled. Please go to connect to network and check at least you have one band enabled. So it's only not letting me because I haven't connected it to my actual device main router. But once you've got that, then you can click enable. Then you've got system tools. So again, this is down to the setup that we went through on the wizard. So if you want to change it, so like we do in the UK, we have daylight savings time, so it changes when it comes winter time. We can add that here and change it, so you can change your time zone as well after you've done the setup. You can also you can switch off the LEDs if you've got this in your bedroom or somewhere where you don't want the lights distracting you, and also you can actually have this as night mode. You can have them come off at certain times as well. So that's really good to see they've thought about that as well. Again, we've got the firmware upgrade. So as you can see here, they don't have an automatic option. You have to go to the TP-Link website, and that there will then show you the actual device and everything else. So I'll just bring up the specs on the left hand side for you as well, so you can have a look at those as we go through. So what you'll do is you'll download the actual file on from TP-Link, unzip it, and then you'd browse for that file, and then you'd actually just hit the upgrade and it'll upload it. I don't think there's too many versions of there. Just be wary, like my one down here, it says the hardware version. Mine's version 2.0. I think they have got up to version 4.0. So make sure when you're downloading any updates or firmware, make sure you identify what version you have. So mine is 2.0, yours might be 4.0 or even 1.0. So just make sure you select the right firmware. Okay. Next is the backup. So again, you can back up your settings here, and then if you ever need to factory default everything back to the normal settings, you can restore them easily by just restoring them from that file you used to back up here. And again, instead of using the factory reset button that's actually on the bottom of the device, you can actually do that the same thing using here as well, clicking this. Then you have the admin account. As we said, we set up the password when we first did the wizard. So here you can enter your old password and enter a new password as well. And lastly, we have the system log. So this will then give you all the information about the devices connected and everything else if you want to diagnose any issues that you're having. So it's good to see that they're covering most things off, and you can actually see what's happening within the actual extender, and you can control things. So for a budget extender, I'll say it's got a lot of settings here that helps you out. And again, I only for purpose I want this is just to extend my devices that are on the 2.4 gigahertz frequencies and everything else. And as we said at the top, you've got here the mode. So you can click here and you'll see then currently, as this is what it is currently now, is it extends your existing wireless coverage by repeating the wireless signal from your main router, and that's in repeater mode. Or you can transfer, and you can actually make the selection access point where you could transform your existing wired network into a wireless network. So you can actually use this as a wireless router. It might not have the strongest signal, but if you're somewhere and it doesn't have wireless, you can plug it into the bottom of the Ethernet port, and in one cable into the bottom of the device, the extender, and then one into the back of the router, and then you can make your router that's not wireless into wireless. So that's always a really good little feature to have. And then we have reboot, where if you're having any issues or it's frozen or something's not working, you can just go in and reboot it just there. So as I said, this is a really good little Wi-Fi extender to have, and you can see here it does cover up on the speeds on your left hand side on the menu there. As we said, all the different standards. Of course, this is only Wi-Fi 5 because it only has the 2.4 and the 5. It does have the 2 external antennas, and it tells you the power consumption as well, and the speeds we've got here. So it is the 5 gigahertz is a Wi-Fi 11 AC as well. So I hope you found this video useful. and the setup and everything. If you do have any issues, then leave them in the comments as usual, and I'll try and my best to answer them. And I hope you found this useful. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day.